All right. So I was invited to join a live this evening. And we were having some slight technical difficulties. So now we're going to try and see if we go live from my page, if my girlfriend can join us here. So I'm going to wait a few minutes to see, hey, when she pops up, if I can add her. So let me see when she comes. And the only thing is I did not add the title of our chat. So we were having a chat this evening. Hi, thank you guys for coming in. And I was originally going live on my girlfriend's page. Let's see, can I add her? But it wouldn't work. So we were going to try me going live from my page, but now I'm not seeing her on. Let's see if I send it to her. Technology is great until it's not, right? Okay, here we go. I'm going to send it to her. And all right, bear with us, guys. I was just saying, a girlfriend of mine had asked me to come on live with her tonight and have a discussion, and we were originally going to go live from her page, but for some reason we were having some technical difficulties, so we decided to try and go from my page. Let's see. All right, so it says, let me see. Let's see if it works. Mm-mm-mm. It's okay.
Okay, I see myself.
I see you
You see
too.
me too?
I
Now,
do.
this is the first time that I've joined someone else's live. And so it's weird because I can see myself. I cannot see you.
Right now.
Right now, I can't see you. I can only see myself.
So what are you on? I wonder if it's something about your device that's not letting you see. Like, are you on
I'm
an
on my
iPad or are you on a phone?
I'm on my phone.
I don't know.
I
The
don't know
only difference
either.
is, hmm.
I don't know either.
Okay. Well, the other thing I realized is I couldn't remember the title, so I didn't.
It's okay. So
Sorry.
it is restoring honor to yourself from the inside out. So
Okay.
you see us both?
Yeah. So I'm gonna turn it over to you then, Taisha. This is
Okay.
Taisha's live. I'm a guest. G was just acting wild. So
I see you though. Like I need to be able to see you in order to like have this
I know.
conversation. But listen,
I don't know.
maybe you can like when we're all done, you can send me the video
Yes.
and I can look at it because I need to be able to see, like I need to be able to feel
I
you. I guess I'm gonna have to use
I
my intuition and
know.
see, like really, really, oh, I don't like this. Oh, I don't like it.
So when you did the other ones, you were able to see the
I
other
was able to
person?
see. So the first time with Lakeisha, she wasn't able to see it and she just kept going out and coming in. And then eventually I was able to see her on the screen. The second time I was definitely able to see the person. It's so weird. It's
Do you want to try it
so
one
weird.
more
Let's
time?
try
You
it one
tell
more
me. Because I know
time.
what it is like I know you want to see.
I want to be able to see you. I do.
Yeah.
I
I
do.
know. I know. All
Okay.
right. I
So
hope
I'm
everybody
gonna
in
log
here.
out. Huh?
Okay. I was just going to tell everybody in here. So you want to just log out? I'll keep
I'm
this
going.
live up.
Yeah. You can keep it up. I'm gonna log out and I'm gonna come back in. Let's see if that works. And if not, we'll
Okay.
try something different. I'm so sorry, you guys. Y'all stay on. Hold up. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. And so you said,
All
hello,
right.
just stopping in to say hi, wishing you both to say, thank you. Okay. All right. I'm logging out.
Okay. All right. I don't know. IG is acting weird. Yes. Thank you. Hello. Yes. G Money. Anytime I see her name, I automatically think about the scene on the roof, right? With Nino. We all we got. Wait, no. Were they on the roof? Yeah, they were on the roof. Don't take me down that rabbit hole. Um, Thank y'all for your patience. I don't know what's going on with Instagram, but I also know that when you're doing a live discussion, you want to be able to see the other person, not just sit there looking at yourself. So we'll be patient, right? It's a new moon. What can I talk about while we're waiting? New moon in Pisces, right? So this is good energy to set some intentions. Of course, I'm gonna talk about all of that on the discussion. But okay, let me send her a request. Let's see. Let's see. Oh no, wait a minute. Okay.
Okay. Wait.
I love it. Because this is real life.
Oh my God. And I still can't see you. Oh my God. Okay. This is crazy.
I can
This,
see you, Taisha. I don't
okay.
know. Let me.
Well, let's just go. Let's
Okay.
just go. Okay, look. Let's just go. I'm going to have to feel you with my spirit or something. Okay.
Yes. And you know what? That's what I was gonna say. Let's ground. Let's
Let's
take a
ground.
moment.
Let's ground. Okay.
Let's take a moment, right? So we're just gonna take a moment
We
to
got like y'all not even here, okay? Because this is what we doing. This is real life. This is
right.
real life, okay? Okay.
Yep. So let's just take a few moments, take a few cleansing breaths, right? We take an inhale through our nose and sigh it out. Let's do that 2 more times. Deep inhale.
I am giggling though.
Come on, Taisha, and sigh it out. And one more time. Deep inhale
Oh my
and sigh it out.
God. Okay.
All
Okay. Okay, I'm back.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good. Who is that?
That's my brother. That's my
Okay,
brother.
okay, good. I am. Listen, that was a good start. All
Indeed.
right, all right. How are you, Niambi?
I'm good. I am good. How are
Good.
you?
I am. It's been one of those days. It's been one of those days. My energy is actually really draining. So this was actually good to get my energy back up.
Okay.
Like things like this actually help me. So it helps me to kind of shift focuses. So this was actually really good for me. All right. So thank you for accepting this invitation to come and have this girl chat with me. Are you there?
Yes. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I was about to say
Okay.
yes. No, it was my pleasure. It was definitely my pleasure.
Yes. Okay. So me and Niambe go way. I think I'm saying your name right. Is it Niam? Say your name for us.
Niambi.
Okay,
Niambi.
Niambe. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Niambe and I go back a couple of years.
Mhm.
Triple P, positive parenting
Mhm.
world, and I met her, and I think I met her. And I had her. I think she did a presentation. She was on with Kathy Henderson, who is Kathy is like the executive director of like that
Yep.
program.
Mhm.
But anyway, I saw you on with her, and it was like you're like I can tell you had a little anointing on your life. I was like, wait a minute, who is that? Because like when you are working in this field, you only see people from the eyes of just like a therapist or a public worker, or, but you don't ever like sense the anointing on someone's life, especially when they're speaking. But I
Mhm.
sensed it, and I was like, And so I never really said anything. And then for some reason, we started following each other on our personal pages, and just how you do on social
Right.
media. You just kind of go back and forth with people on social media. And so I've gotten to know you a little bit more intimately
Mhm.
outside of work. And you definitely have it on your life, whatever it is. You have something on your life that is substantial and weighty. And I wanted to make sure that the people that will hear us today can be a recipient of what's on your life.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I invited you. It's not because of, it's because of what you carry on your life. Okay. All right. So I
Well, let me
thought
say
that,
thank you for that. Let me
yes,
say thank you for that. I share often, I do not take anything for granted. I don't take for granted when people ask me to speak or be involved. And I don't take for granted like the type of feedback that you just provided, because I'm fully aware that this is a ordered step that I'm living, or ordered life that I'm living right now. And it's these types of interactions and conversations that fuel me and allow me to just be reassured, right? The work that I do is really not about Niambi. It is about me allowing Niambi to be a vessel for
Yeah.
spirit. And so I appreciate that
Yeah.
greatly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. So speaking of you just being Niambi, I don't know what we caught because we've been on, this is, I think, our third or fourth attempt at this. So I'm not
Right.
sure what the replay will catch. But I want to make sure that we talk about what the title is. I think initially when I asked you to join, I wanted you to talk about your journey with your body in regards to just your journey with your body. But then I think when I started sitting with it, I added the other parts. And I was like, that's what resonated with me. So I was like, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about restoring honor to yourself from the inside out. That's what this conversation is all about tonight. So you opened us up to just kind of getting to know who you are. So I want you to just say, I know this is your page, but this will also go, at least parts of it will go on my page. And so if you could just introduce yourself and who you are and just talk about your journey. When we think about, let me take a step back. Let me breathe, take a step back.
Yeah.
All right. So when we think about restoring honor, to me, that means that there was something lost. There was something that needs restoration, right? So I
Mhm.
want you to talk to our audience about your journey of what needed to be restored, what needed to be honored. So let's kind of go there and then we'll
Mhm.
bring ourselves back up and we'll get into everything else.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So, when I read the title, I think I messaged you like, whoo, child, that title.
Yeah.
Um, because it does cover a lot, right? And so, like you said, the idea of restoration, it is bringing something back to its original state, right?
Mhm.
Is how I think of it. And I would say I'm glad you mentioned or put it in that way, because the note that I made for myself, like as some of my thoughts were coming to me, is I would say maybe about 5 years ago, I went through very significant life changes, which I'm more than happy to share. I will share those. But I think for me, the key was the restoration piece. It was the reminder that I am more than just the sum of the story of what I experienced over the last 5 years. And there was a version of me before that. There was
Wow.
a version of me before I walked through different trials and tribulations. And sometimes when
Mhm.
you are coming right out of a difficult time or season, it's not only hard to see what's ahead, sometimes it's hard to see the good that was behind. Sometimes all
Yeah.
you can see is the tragedy that's right there in your face, right? But
Mhm.
when we talk about restoration, it is being able to remember the you that you were, at whatever point in your life. For all of us, we'll be able to identify other points in our lives when we feel like we were our most authentic, when we feel, sometimes I use the term like who you were before the world got a hold of
I
you,
say that
right?
too. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's who you were before the expectations hit, before the responsibilities hit. And for some of us, that means we might have to go all the way back to the womb,
Yeah.
right? Because if you came out to circumstances that judged you or criticized you, you might not have a remembrance in your physical experience of where you want to go back to. But what I know for sure is that we all came from spirit. And what I know for sure is that we are all divine beings. So sometimes that tapping into is going back before your physical experience. And that's where the inside out comes in for me. It's
Yeah.
tapping into your spirit self. It's tapping into the God that is in you and learning how to embody and truly know that is more than words, that there is a God in you. We are a representation of God, and God is divine, therefore we are divine.
Yeah.
God is whole, therefore we are whole.
Yeah.
God lacks nothing, therefore we lack nothing. God is enough, therefore we are enough. God is worthy, therefore we are worthy. And so when I think about restoration, it really has been a journey of going back to my spirit self, reconnecting with nature, paying attention to the cycles of the world, removing the idea that somehow us as humans stand on the outside of everything else that God's creation experiences, that we stand on the outside of the seasons, the ebbs, the flows. We stand on the outside of needing to put our hands and feet in water and touch grass and sun gaze, and we're no different than the animals, and the all of that. And so for me, restoration was seeing myself as a part of this divine creation, and that
Yeah.
shifted everything for me.
How did that, like, talk to us about that process, because I am pretty sure that there is someone listening that is like, well, how? Like, and
Mhm.
I, to be honest with you, Niambi, I hate when people kind of talk like in these big words
Mhm.
that feel so grand that they feel impractical, and as if you can't accomplish it because you're like, I need practical steps to know what this looks like.
Mhm.
So talk about that part of it in regards to how, like, how
Yes.
did you tap into that?
Yep. So for me, that's interesting because I think for me, that's the part of knowing that I am greater than the sum of Sadie's past 5 years. So Facebook, you may hate it or love it, but one of the things that has been really good for lately is the memories, right? It
I love
was
my
a
memory.
moment where I had almost forgot who I was, but
Mm-hmm.
my memories showed me like, nah, you're not new to this. You know what I'm saying? You've been a worshiper. You've been encouraging, you've been helping, you have been doing all of this. And so I think for some people, if I'm being totally honest, for some people, there has always been a natural inclination to dig deeper, explore the deep questions of life. And for some people, that's not their jam, right?
Yeah.
So if it's not your jam, I would just say, at a minimum, paying attention to how you feel and being open to sitting with
Yeah.
it. That in and of itself will start to, it's the idea of exploration, being open to exploring yourself. And when it starts to get uncomfortable, when we want to move out of the place of exploration. Now, exploration can look like a number of different things. It can be sitting in silence. It can
Mm-hmm.
be meditation. I talk about tools. It can be journaling. It can be, if you're somebody who likes to freehand journal and just journal in your books, or if you like to have journal prompts. It's purely, I believe the first step is just verbalizing out loud, I have a desire to shift my reality, or I have a desire to connect spiritually, or I have a desire to do something different. Once you make the declaration, and I know it may sound like, no, it can't be that simple, but it really is. Once you make the declaration, spirit starts to bring you what you ask for. So do you pick up on it? Do you, once you make the declaration and then you realize on your social media, your entire feed is people that are speaking contrary to what you just declared,
Mm-hmm.
that's a sign. Do you
Mm-hmm.
start clearing up your social media and then shifting and following people that are moving in a way that you would like to go, that are sharing messages that uplift you? It's really just paying attention to how we feel. If the
Yeah.
music that you put on always has you down in the dumps, change the
Yeah.
music. You know, I would say that's the place to start. And then you can take additional steps, from there. If it, like I said, for me, it's tools, right? So I talk about tools often.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling, meditation, yoga is a tool that I use. But what I also appreciate you saying is that it does not have to be this big. It does not have to be
It doesn't
super
have to be big.
esoteric with all these big words. It's as simple as drink some water, get some sunlight, pay attention to nature,
Yeah.
right? If we do that, when it's cold outside, we naturally want to go inward. Wintertime is a season for introspection. When it's warm outside, we naturally want to go outside. Our bodies need sunlight. So it's not, and I do feel like, wellness, spirituality, it's been hijacked and commoditized, right?
What do you
In
mean by
our
that? What do you mean by that?
meaning that I think that I feel like it's been hijacked, in terms of it being a very specific path. I think people believe they have to start one place and that there's an end. There's no end, right? It is not something that you need to seek outwardly. There's nothing wrong with receiving support from others, but this is how you have people that will like empty a bank account trying to pay somebody to give them all the answers. If
Yeah,
you seek out any type of support, spiritually, mentally, holistic well-being, and no part of that is telling you to go inward,
that's the
I advise
problem.
you to seek some other
Yeah,
support. So that's what I mean by hijack. Like, yeah, it's an interesting time right now with social media.
yeah. Everyone is the guru when it's so funny because you posted like I love The Last Dragon. Like that is my movie. And
Yes.
you reposted it a couple of days ago, I think.
Mhm.
I think a couple of days ago. And it was talking about the entire movie was talking about how he was on the search for the master and he was the master
Right.
the whole time. And so
On the
he had to
search,
discover that. He had to discover that for himself. That was the journey.
right. And he was on the search for the master,
Hmm.
um, running around with a belt buckle, right? Like
Yes,
that's also the
a
thing. Like we hold
belt
on to
buckle.
these things. We
Yeah,
want the things. And I will say this, it's natural though.
yeah,
So if you find yourself doing that, it's no heat, no judgment. It's human nature to want external help, support, validation. Um, and then in this society that we are, in this um I lost my train of thought. In this Western society, we are conditioned in certain ways. We are conditioned to look outward. We do not have a lot of practices that call us back inward. Our education system, a lot of the systems in our environment have us looking toward someone else for validation, for instruction. There's not a lot of opportunity. I shouldn't say there's not a lot. That's not true. And I feel like there's a lot more now, but it's not our natural, or hasn't been our natural, or our, and I want to be careful about my words. It hasn't been the structure of our society to try, fail, pick up, do it again. When you think about our school system and you think about like experiential learning, or young people having the opportunity to go out and try something and see, about science, about space, about these things, doing it with their hands, trying it, feeling it, that has just not been the structure. I actually believe that we are on the precipice of a shift in everything that
yeah.
we know and understand in the world
It
that
has
we're in.
to. Mhm.
Yeah. But so I'm just saying that to say, I don't want anyone to feel, if you have been on a search, if you have been on a journey, even if you have been scammed, if you have been taken advantage of, the other thing is shame and guilt will keep you held hostage to that thing.
Yeah.
It's no heat, it's no judgment, it's no shame. It's just knowing that every answer that you desire is inside of you. And so I actually just put a post up that said, healers are not healers, right? I don't heal anyone. I hold space and create a safe environment that
Mm-hmm.
supports people in activating the healer in
That's
themselves.
good.
Yeah. So,
That's good. That's good. You talked about shame and guilt, and that is a topic that is ever present in therapy. And so I want you to, if you can, offer some words to someone that has been through a thing or things, and the shame and the guilt that it is holding them back. How do
yeah.
you deal with and manage shame and guilt?
So for me, I believe in the law of attraction. Um, but not from I've been familiar with the law of attraction, and for years I was familiar with it. But whenever I would hear it initially, I would automatically think about money. I would think about the Oprah Winfrey Show and the book The Secret,
Yeah.
and think that like I was going to do a vision board to bring money in.
Yeah.
But there is a spiritual guide named Abraham Hicks that was part of the law of attraction even when it was with Oprah. And it's through those teachings that I've learned, and I'm still learning and journeying every day. I literally just had a conversation with my cousin this morning about being in the present moment, right? And
Mhm.
so that practice of the law of attraction, meaning all we have is this present moment. All we have is this present moment. Even, however many minutes ago when we were trying to get on Instagram and things weren't working and blah, 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 had we held on to that, like that is the past. Literally, everything I just said, it all is the past. All we have is the present moment. And that practice is what helps me release guilt and shame, because
Yeah.
guilt and shame is never about the present moment.
Yeah.
It is about something that happened, something that I did, something that shame is external, right? It is either often put on us or what we think people will think about us. And so the practice of really just saying, I did the best that I could
Yeah.
with what I had and what I knew at that time, period. And
Good.
that has walked me through some really hard situations. And it's also understanding that there's no end. That's what I was saying when I said I feel like spirituality and wellness got hijacked, because you can feel like I shouldn't have to release the shame around the same thing 15 times. Like, if I'm this elevated and I'm this aware, how does this come back up on me? It comes back up on you because something in life can trigger up that same situation or that relationship or the decision that you made. And the default becomes wanting to go back into that shame. But I remind myself, I did the best that I could with what I had and what I knew at that moment. And I do different now.
Yeah.
And it's a practice. It's a everyday intentional choice. It's a choice. That if I could say anything on this live, is to let people know there is no magic pill. There's no quick fix. Being tapped in, tuned in, connecting to your higher self does not mean you are not going to have hardships, does not
Yeah.
mean that you're not going to have disappointments. It doesn't mean that shame doesn't still try to creep up on me. It doesn't mean that guilt doesn't try to get the best of me. I just make a different choice now.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. One of the things that and this is what I believe. I believe that all feelings, including shame and guilt, are holy and sacred, and they all serve a purpose in our life. And to me, the purpose of shame and guilt are just to kind of help us to realign. And so, in the sense that you were talking about getting to know yourself, the true, authentic self that you are, you have to understand who you are in regards to what your values are, not the ones that people tried to put on you, but what your values are. And when you experience shame or guilt, sometimes that gives you an opportunity to get reacquainted with yourself in regards to, what do I believe? What are the standards that I have in my life? What are the beliefs I have that I want to live out? How I want to show up in the world? And once you learn that lesson, you just get back in line with what your values say. And once you've done that, the shame and the guilt has done its job, and you're free to release it. I think the problem comes in when we try to hold on to it and sit in it when it's already done the work. Once you're back in alignment, you're free to release it. That's my
Yeah.
belief. And that's what I kind of teach people.
Yeah, I like that. I also believe all of the emotions serve a purpose. Like I
All of them.
love the little movie. Oh, what was it called?
Inside
They just came out
out.
with part two. Yes,
Inside out. I
yes.
haven't seen part two.
Oh, so I didn't see the first one. I only saw part two.
Mm-hmm.
But it's understanding they all serve a purpose.
Yeah,
But they come and they go, right?
they
So
come
going
and
back
go.
to the tools, that's meditation is my saving grace, right? And meditation, again, when we talk about things not having to be so, esoteric, meditation does not have to look like sitting crisscross with your fingers and chanting and, oh, no, meditation can just be silence for 5 seconds. Meditation is taking some deep breaths. I walk people through 30-second meditations, 2 minutes, so that you can fully understand. Every time somebody tells me I don't have time, you don't have time not to. If I could just show you how long a minute and 30 seconds is, it's really not that long,
Yeah,
but it can make a huge difference in helping settle yourself and
yeah,
realign yourself even in the moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because we meditate all the time. If you worry, that's a form of meditation.
Yes.
You're meditating on problems. And so if you're already meditating, why not shift it to something that actually is working for you and helpful to you in the moment?
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. That's a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So dealt with shame and
Mhm.
guilt, talked about how to release it. What would be the next thing in regards to honoring yourself from the inside out, or restoring honor from the inside out, would you say?
Um, yeah, I think it's so I already started with, like, just like you said, getting to know who you are, right? Choosing, deciding um how you're going to go about that. I think that is a good place to start. I definitely recommend journaling. I think in whatever way, whatever form. I know there's a number of different, if you're somebody that likes to talk, that could be through voice notes. You could do it on your phone, but I think that there is immense value to being able to go back and see where you
Yeah.
were a
Yeah.
week ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, um, and just work to unpack it. um, I would say that would be one step. And I think the other piece is knowing that you can do one thing, right? Like, sometimes people get on these journeys and they do a little bit of everything, and that can feel overwhelming. So I think it's the piece of getting in tune with yourself is important, because then you can figure out what avenues. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Like I say that all the time. What avenues will serve you best? But if you're doing multiple things, sometimes it could just feel overwhelming. I think it's a very individual, you know it really depends on the individual. But I would say starting with some sort of meditative practice. Let me get my thoughts in order. Let me slow down.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
starting with some type of meditative, reflective practice,
Yeah.
um, some type of journaling so that you can keep track, and some type of intention setting.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have a goal. Have a goal write the goal down, achieve the goal. That's another thing that Abraham Hicks in the Law of Attraction talks about, is like, test it. Test the thing. Give yourself, if you want to trust your intuition, you have to test your intuition more. And then
All
you
the
start to trust it
time.
more. You know,
Five
like, you
reasons
have
of
to
you.
do the thing.
Yeah.
You know, exercise that
Yeah.
muscle.
Yes.
So I would say those would be my three starting places. Like, set a goal for yourself, achieve some goals, reassure yourself that we can do this together. Because the other thing that just popped in my mind is, oftentimes when trust is broken, we've also broken the trust within ourselves,
Yeah.
right? When we don't keep our word to ourselves, we can't trust
Yeah.
ourselves. When, you know, and that is a very real thing. I've shared with people, like, there are times where I sort of talk to myself in the, I don't know if it's first person, third person, I don't know what person it is, but I'm like, Niambi, get it together.
Get it together,
And
girl.
get it together, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's realizing sometimes it's fractured trust within yourself.
Yeah. That's
So
so good.
I would say start with, if you are at the very beginning of any type of journey and you're like, listen, I just need a starting place, I would say you can go on YouTube. That's the one good thing about all of this access. You can search guided meditation, you can search meditation music, and just sit with yourself for a few minutes, and then grab your journal and write down whatever comes to mind, and do that for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and set a goal for yourself,
Yeah.
and put some time to your goal,
Yeah.
right? You have to, there has to be a time frame to it so that you can hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And then when this is something that I'm like really, really big on, that is that when you set the goal, it has to be very specific about what you want it to look like. Like, you have to know what it will look like when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you say, I want to love more, well, what does that mean practically? Like, I am a very practical person.
Mm-hmm.
What does love mean practically? How will I know when I'm loving more? Would
Right.
that mean I'm giving people hugs 3 times a week? Am I calling people? Am I having lunch with people? Like, how will you know? So when you're setting your goal about what you want honor and restoration to look like, be very specific about what it will look like. How will you know when you get there? What would it look
Right. Right. Yeah.
like?
What is your measure of success?
What is your measure of success
Yeah.
exactly? All right.
And one of the
So,
things,
mhm,
I was gonna say, one of the things that I wanted to share when you started out and you were talking about, just like my journey with my body.
yes, I want to
Um,
get there next. Mhm.
okay. So I do that was an interesting piece. It was an interesting piece. But what I was just about to say when you were saying restoration is, part of the relationship with yourself is your relationship with your body.
Absolutely.
And when I walked through these past 5 years, I at the end of 2019, and I went through, I lost my mom, and I went
Mhm.
through a divorce of a long-term marriage. And
Wow.
so everything that I understood about my life was in upheaval. Um, and so that was me starting from the ground up, just being totally transparent. Like, when you ask, how do you start? Um, I had a choice to make. And real talk, my choice was, if you sit in this, like the magnitude of this, if you sit in this, it will take you out.
Mm.
So now you have to decide. And some days deciding was simply getting up and getting in the shower and
Yeah.
then getting back in the bed, right? Other days, I had way more energy and I would try to capitalize on it. But the thing I realized is, I had never owned a full body mirror. I
Wow.
never owned a full body mirror. And I realized that even when I would be like in the bathroom or getting out the shower or getting up in the morning, the only time I would look in the mirror was to like brush my teeth and leave.
Wow.
The idea of coming face to face with myself, it was literally and figuratively. Like, I had to start being able to stand in front of the mirror and look at Niambi, some days hysterically crying, some days like, what am I gonna do? And that's where I'm saying, sitting with the hard things. Yeah, it's a choice. It's a decision. And it doesn't always look like a flip of the switch or a quick overnight situation, but that full body mirror, it's in my room now, and it was a game changer for me. I walk past it now, I sit in front of it, I talk to myself, I'm kinder to myself. I think seeing myself allowed me to care for myself
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
When I didn't have to look her face to face, then I could be mean and nasty to her in my head and have, judge her, not be kind. But when I started realizing, if I met Niambi on the street and she told me her story, I would be so patient with her. I would be so considerate toward her. I would give her a hug. And I wasn't doing any of that for
Yeah.
myself.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. I had a very similar experience. I wrote a journal called Hello Body. And one of the kind of the ways that I started that was looking in the mirror
Yeah.
because, we talk about like our thoughts about our body, and I wasn't very kind to my body for a very long time. And the way that I got around that was actually looking at my body in a full length mirror as well. Like literally like just staring at it. And then, everyone doesn't have to do this on their journey, but like just being able to tolerate other people seeing it as well. And that's weird, but that was a part of my journey, allowing people to actually see it and say, and not really care what they would think about it because
Mhm.
it's my reality,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that is so important in regards to being your number one, being your authentic self, but allowing people to see you even in your imperfections,
Hmm.
and being okay with whatever they may think and not allowing it to affect you negatively is
Right.
very important to me.
Yeah.
So I love that journey that you're on. Unless I want to shift to before we have to end, because I do have to end at 9.
Okay.
I want to shift to allowing yourself to be seen in the world. So I kind of just talked about like my process of allowing myself to be okay in my imperfections, and then allowing people to see my imperfections and not really caring about their thoughts about it because I'm okay with what I see. um, how do you allow yourself to authentically show up in the world? Because I believe that that is a place of honor, allowing yourself to be seen in the world. That is a place of restoration as well. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Listen, um, I would say I received messaging, maybe just 25 right now, so about 2022, that basically I received a download, and through some spiritual not training, but mentoring that I was in, that is what was required. That I was required to allow myself to be seen and to get past people's perception of me, because I realized I did not have a problem with being seen. So I talk about astrology a lot, but just a small piece. Your rising sign is like how you show up in the
Mm-hmm.
world. And I'm a Leo rising,
Mm-hmm.
which is like Leo, the lion, pride. I move with confidence. So I've never had a problem being seen. It was the perceived, it was the idea that people would be able to give their thoughts and opinions about me that scared me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that it was more so that, like, if I put myself out there, I'm also putting myself out there for you to add your 2 cents.
Yeah.
And that was the part that I wasn't good with. I would say it all came back to my acceptance of, I know that I have a call on my life. So I'm going to hide at what cost. If my showing up can help somebody on their journey, if my showing up can help heal somebody who in turn helps heal me, then the hiding or the allowing people's thoughts and opinions of me to keep me making myself small, going back to like what was my measure of success.
Yeah.
So for me, it was it required me to do some shadow work, right? Because I had to dig into why other people's opinions and perceptions of me impacted me the way it did.
Yeah.
So I had to unpack that, but it really was just a decision of what am I exposing myself for,
Yeah.
right? So I don't go live or I don't share if it's not something that I really feel is important. And so
Mhm.
for me, the value, the benefit, the ROI, the impact on other people's lives and the impact on my life outweighs the fear of being perceived. But then it also goes back to, like you said, the only way I get over, I know that I'm called to put myself out there because part of my journey is overcoming the fear of being perceived. So the only way I'm gonna overcome that
Stop
is
being
to put myself out there
perceived.
and be perceived. Like yeah, yeah,
So it's interesting because I had to do that work too. And this is where I got it. This is where I got it. That people are allowed, just like I am allowed to have my opinion, I am allowed to have my thoughts, I'm allowed to have my values, I'm allowed to have all of that. So are other people.
yes,
And their opinions are for them.
right,
Like you're allowed to have your opinion. I want you to have your opinion. I want you to have your values. I want you to have your tolerances. I want you. Somebody's trying to get me. I want you to have all of that. But guess what? It's not for me.
right,
It's for you. It's for you and you guiding your life with it. And so I had to release that desire to control people, control their opinions. Like I had to be able to free people to have it because I don't want you to be a robot.
right,
I want
right.
you to have all of that, but I had to be okay and at peace with the fact that, but it's for you. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And your opinion, your value, how you perceive the world is based on your life experiences and all of that. And so I free people to have that and I free myself to have it. And in me doing that, it freed me to not care. I
Right.
care, depending on who it is. I care a little bit. Sometimes it's things, depending on where I am,
Mm-hmm.
that I might care a little bit. But at the end of the day, I am okay with you having what you need to have in order to live your life. And that includes an opinion about me. That
Right.
doesn't make it fact, true, or whatever. It just means that that's just where you are right now and you're allowed to have it.
Right. And I would share one thing that came in my mind when you were saying I care depending on who you are. I care too. That's something that I let go of, that idea of like, no, I don't care what nobody think of me. No, I do. Right? I do. Not in a way I care. I'm not going to manipulate my life because of it. I'm not going to
Yeah,
contort myself. But it also helped me realize that you can have a difference of opinion than me, or how I'm showing up or whatever. How you present it to me also gives me information about how you are allowed to show up in my life, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because if I care about what you think about me and you're hurtful or dismissive or then that, like you said, everything is about information.
yeah,
And for me, I realize it is getting information for me to take, process through. Why does that trigger this up? Why does this, it's all about what I do with it. Yeah,
yeah.
but not
Absolutely.
I like that your opinion is for
It's
you. So if you see
for
something that
you.
I'm doing that you don't like, you
It's for
should
you.
take that opinion and then make a decision about how you want to live. Right?
Period.
I
Period.
like
Because
that.
that's what I do for me. That's what I do for me.
Right.
So listen,
Yes.
um, this is, I want to have another conversation with you. I wish we had the full time. I wish we had the full time.
I know.
Man,
We'll do a part two. We'll do a part two.
we have to do a part two, maybe in March, because March, just for people that are listening, March, we're going to be talking about women's issues. So we're going to talk about sexuality. We're going to talk about finding your flow. We're going to talk about motherhood, all of it. So I would love to invite you back so that we can kind of finish this conversation in regards to just like honoring our body and showing up and kind of being okay with other people's opinions, all of it.
Right.
So thank you
Absolutely.
so much,
Yes.
Neon B. Thank you so much. And I apologize for, I told you that it was going to be a minute,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just be patient.
No
Yeah.
problem.
So, all right.
No problem. All right. See you
Okay.
later.
All right.
Bye
Bye.
bye.